Closer, baby. I feel like laying you down. Alright. Free Chana Pod. Episode 11. Let's do it. Alright, stop playing on your phone.
I'm not playing, I'm just sending something.
We're recording.
Okay.
Well, welcome everybody. As of this recording, haven't uploaded my dad's interview yet, but as the time you guys have listened to this, I have uploaded it, and you have listened to it if you're a dedicated listener. So thank you for that. Alright. Ari's back in town, so we got this sweet setup for me. Don't need to worry about like linking up to audio files and all that business. So editing is gonna be a breeze. I'm so happy. So there's lots of news has happened since we last.
So much news. I can't think of any specific stories actually, but it's just so many little things.
So we got Jeff Sessions is out as Attorney General.
I feel like we talked about that last week.
Did we?
Yeah, we definitely did.
I can't remember what we talked about and what has happened and we've talked about in person, but it hasn't actually happened on the pod.
We talked about the scam artist who's the acting AG.
Oh yeah, and you read about his company and everything, right?
Oh yeah. We were talking about it last week, man.
Yeah, he basically is they're using him to intimidate people.
Yeah.
Because he was so everyone should check out. Because
he was a fat boy.
He's a very fat bald boy. So yeah, his company basically said I was listening to something today about they were endorsed a man toilet.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear about that?
For the well endowed.
Yeah, a toilet for the well endowed. So it was basically they were trying to get the water. They were expanding the bowl to make it more round, so you wouldn't be hitting the porcelain, and they also wanted to create more draw distance between the seat and the water level, so you could. They said about 12 inches.
Yeah, 12 inches because everyone needs just about 12 inches.
I mean, sometimes I feel like I need 13, but on a cold day, 12 would probably do. But yeah. Anyway, that's very ridiculous. And also, they said that they could. A time machine was likely to be developed within 10 years. He's also a Sasquatch guy.
Yeah. We're watching the same garbage news sources. Yeah, talking about these silly stories.
Well, I mean, the Sasquatch thing may be the winning issue for the next couple of years because the Sasquatch porn guy got elected too.
Whoa.
Did you hear about that guy?
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was some guy who was into he was into Sasquatch erotica.
I don't know what that means. Are you looking it up?
Yeah, because okay. So he's a congressman from
West Virginia.
From Denver. He's a U.S. congressman from Denver, and basically he's alleged to be a supporter of Bigfoot erotica because he. Oh no! Why did he say? Oh, I misspoke. His name is Denver Riggleman, so I thought he was running in Denver. Actually, he's a Republican candidate for Congress in Virginia's 5th District. And he's been accused of going along with white supremacists. And apparently, he has drawings of Sasquatch in the nude.
Whoa. Sasquatch should wear clothes. Why wouldn't Sasquatch be in the nude?
Yeah, but I think, usually when you see, a Sasquatch drawing, if you see a bear... you see a male bear out in the woods.
He's usually not erect. Is that your point?
Well, he's not erect, and the fur covers his genitalia. But I think this.
I've never seen a bear, so.
I've seen
I've never seen a bear that close where I would be like, "Ooh, look at the genitalia."
Yeah, you have on National Geographic or something like that, Discovery. Do you ever remember seeing a bear cock?
No, but I think it's because they're mostly leaning forward. They're usually not standing on their hind legs.
I've seen like bear attacks. I guess that's usually they're talking about the mother grizzly defending her cubs. Nothing is more face than a mother grizzly.
In that case, then they're all females anyway.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's why maybe you haven't seen it, and maybe I don't know. Maybe I haven't. I don't know for sure. But so what do we got? He defeated Mrs. Oh no,
Mrs. Piggy.
He was running against Leslie Cockburn, which comes
Denver Wiggleman and Leslie Cockburn.
That's quite a. It's not Wiggleman, it's Wriggleman. But yeah, so
sounds like a Judge Kavanaugh.
Basically, there was some posts about like him, and he posted about like the mating habits of Bigfoot, and apparently like posted some pictures of like Bigfoot erotica. But all that to say that like Bigfoot is the winning issue going into 2020. So I think any sort of candidate should definitely support Bigfoot erotica.
That sounds okay with me.
Or at least Bigfoot in general. So, but yeah, what else has happened? Oh, Trump.
Oh man, I just go through my news feed right now, all the stuff that I've saved up. Bolsonaro, we talked about last week. Julian Assange is now being actually charged.
Who's charging him?
Someone in the U.S. government.
Well, how is he going to get charged? Are they going to try to extradite him? Because I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, he's probably not going to get extradited. It's not clear. The indictment's under seal, basically, so it's not clear.
Yeah.
It's a secret. Let's see what else. The trade war. A lot of people are speculating that Trump's going to end the trade war.
Think so?
I hope not. I honestly hope not at this point. I think the longer he keeps the trade war, the less likely he is to win election, and the more likely is that China is going to suffer and stop developing as fast, which is good for everyone. China just kind of stagnates for a couple of years.
I mean, it's arguable that their economy. It's really hard to know how their economy is doing because it's all self-reported.
They export so much stuff to the United States. It's not even funny.
It's true, but like.
But most importantly, I think China, because of their economic influence, has basically been untouchable for the past, I'd say 10 to 15 years. In the past, the United States, Japan, we were all willing, after like the Tiananmen incident, to basically cut off lots of economic relations with them because of their atrocious human rights records. Okay, and now basically they've self-admitted that they're incarcerating millions of their own people in concentration camps for forced re-education, and not a single country has dropped relations. Not a single country has punished them, and you know why? Because they have a healthy, booming economy and they're exporting lots of garbage.
Yeah.
So
and they just justified that. I think I sent you that article. Basically, the foreign minister said that the camps are needed to fight terrorism. Basically,
they whatever. Who cares? Like the European Union and all their self-righteous like human rights garbage that they've been pumping out for so long. It just goes to show they don't actually believe any of it. They only believe it when it's convenient, but they don't actually hold those values true.
Yeah, I think that's been true for not only European, but for the U.S. too. I mean, for most Western nations.
It's true. That's why I thought it was really interesting. It still sticks in my head, the Marco Rubio thing with Saudi Arabia, where Donald Trump is like, we're going to tear up $104 trillion, and Marco Rubio is like, there's not enough money in the world to like buy my complacency for this. Like, say what you will about Marco Rubio, but the idea that like you need to stand with your values regardless of money.
And what's happened now?
What's happened? Nothing.
Nothing.
Well, because they're like, oh no, we need proof, but no, that's like, I mean, first of all, it's pretty clear what happened. I mean, they have the recordings at this point, but also it's unlikely that they'll ever get like explicit proof that that MBS was involved.
Yeah, they said they're apparently like trying like 5 of them, or like 5 people might get executed for that crime now. So, but that doesn't make any sense. Then I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. But there's no way bin Salman gets under any fire for this at all.
Of course not.
We make too much money off the Saudis to.
Even so, I mean, he's in complete control of his own country, so he's willing to hang a few people so that he, doesn't.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he would pick people off the street. But that's what I'm saying is it's surprising that it's only 5 people. I mean, clearly they went in with intentions to kill him. Like the
100%.
The Turks said that via the audio recordings show that they strangled him right away.
Not only that, but there's the phone call that basically said, "Tell your boss it's done," to like one of the highest people.
Yeah.
There's indications. I mean, all the intelligence agencies have already basically said there's no way this could have been done without his with his approval.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if he didn't directly communicate and you can't prove that, then you can't prove anything. But you can at least prove that it goes pretty high up, and if he doesn't if they can prove the person that they were in contact with that kill team.
They're gonna have a hard time proving that. I mean, it'll be impossible. These are whatever they have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that's the thing is
they're lucky they have as many recordings as they do from inside a controlled consulate.
I don't think that's super surprising. I mean, I'm sure every consulate in the world almost is bugged.
Well, they also conducted the murder in a room that happened to be bugged. So.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know.
But going back to China, I think that basically this not only brings a lot of attention to the Chinese human rights record, because a lot of people are saying, oh, well, maybe the United States doesn't need all this, Chinese money after all. Mm-hmm. But it really shines a light on the huge hypocrisy that the United States, for no reason, is conducting a trade war against, no political reason, essentially, is conducting a trade war against China. Well, they are essentially, not that far off of North Korea with the forced education camps as opposed to the North Korean forced labor camps.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, the thing is the U.S. has a lot of trouble calling for any sort of, just arguing for any sort of being on the moral side of things, with all the shit we do, all the innocent civilians we kill, and we can get into the numbers of that, and again, we should still try to do the right thing in every situation. I think we can.
I think I would disagree. I think overall we do, and I think we still do care a lot of moral weight for a lot of issues.
The thing is the U.S. just like any with China it's kind of different because you have a figurehead. Yeah. With the U.S. it's pseudo-democratic. It's not exactly democratic because we don't have direct democracy. It's kind of the U.S. has kind of devolved into an oligarchy, but to any degree that you want to argue,
people still face repercussions if they commit acts against human rights. Generally, they
If direct acts against human rights, I would more or less agree. There are instances of people doing pretty messed up stuff.
There are tons of instances. I agree with you. There are lots of exceptions, but in general,
more than China for sure.
More than China, at least there are investigations that take place, as opposed to basically the sanctioning of political violence.
but when you get into it, is there a big difference between not having an investigation and having a sham investigation? Because we were talking before we started recording, we were talking about police investigations. A lot of those are in-house. Even an in-house investigation, almost for sure, it doesn't matter. And then you also have the fact that a lot of these police departments work with the prosecutor's office directly, so if the prosecutor wants to get anywhere, they have to keep working with the police. So these things like that.
I mean, these are definitely things that need reform, but at least we can reform them, unlike other countries where there's absolutely no system for reform.
I agree with you.
The central government controls everything.
I just am very cautious to be to give the U.S. any sort of credit, because I feel too often people get on the other side of that and they're just well, the U.S. is the bastion of democracy, and it's well, we really don't even have a direct democracy. Because
you don't need direct democracy, honestly. It would be nice to have, and we do have elements of it. But
we have elements.
I don't think that that makes our democracy any less. How many countries actually exercise full direct democracy? Zero. There's not a single country in the world that has 100% direct democracy.
I think working towards that is a good thing, and also the fact that
we're making progress. My state has a lot of direct democracy.
In some ways. I mean, in some ways we're moving forward, in some ways we're moving backwards. In some ways we're moving more towards just a corporate takeover of the U.S. The whole thing with the Amazon headquarters moving. Yeah,
I always agree with you. Money out of politics would solve a lot of problems. Yeah. But I don't know. I can't say too many terrible things about the U.S. because you look around the world and there are a lot of countries that are doing a lot worse. I grant you, we have our problems, but at least we're making progress. We're trying to, some of us.
In terms of Saudi Arabia, a big thing that I have beef with is that in most of the time we back Saudi Arabia. We don't have any problem with them. But for the senators that do, we back 83% of the world's dictatorships. So like, how much?
When you say back, what do you mean? Because we
support them.
We give aid to like 70% of the country, the world in general. So I mean,
if we back or support those
when
governments,
you say back or support, you just mean because let's say United States aid or like the Peace Corps are active in lots of dictatorships.
Well, I don't know if Peace Corps would count. I mean, government aid and
the Peace Corps has been in Myanmar like basically since right after the transition, and the Myanmar government has been accused of genocide in the past year.
True. And speaking of genocide, the Khmer Rouge just got that was just like I guess officially declared a genocide, which is good.
Oh yeah, as if anyone was in doubt.
Yeah, I know, but it's good to see some sort of official recognition of it. But what I would say is the U.S. is also complicit in a lot of like coups. Like we've had a lot of coups and back those sorts of things.
Yeah,
so I think it's bad. It's anti-democratic.
A lot of it was done secretly, and a lot of it was done 1980s, 1970s before. Like the amount that the U.S. is involved in plotting coups right now has gone down a lot.
What was it in Honduras? It was in like '98. We helped overthrow the leader there.
I don't know. I don't know this case.
U.S. backed elements in that. So, but yeah. Aside from that, I don't know. I feel like to some degree or another, I do agree with you. But the reason I push back against a lot of this against the U.S. is because I want us to do better, and I don't want us to just take credit where we don't deserve it.
I would 100% back that.
But I'm not gonna. Yeah, I would agree with you that I'm not just trying to say, well, the U.S. is trash and like U.S. sucks and like it's like the worst nation on earth. Like
we're basically saying the same thing.
Yeah, I know, but yeah,
we're basically in complete agreement. We're just sitting on opposite sides of the same fence. Like the fence is actually a big circle. Yeah. We're just facing each other.
We're in a corral.
We're in a corral. We're sitting on the same fence though. I'm looking through other news. There's
one I wanted to say was the guy the bouncer in Chicago that got shot. That article that I sent you.
Oh, you're shot. Yeah.
Because this absolutely destroys the good guy with a gun fallacy, where it's just because everyone says
nobody needed that to be destroyed,
but some people do need evidence of it, because this is what it was. Like, this guy, like...
basically, the Parkland school shooting, they had an armed cop who sat outside.
Well, in the Thousand Oaks thing, there was a cop that ran in, and the guy gunned him down. Like, there's a good guy with a gun getting gunned down while, like, 11 other people get killed. But I think it just highlights those things. Like, I wish none of that happened. Like, the guy in Chicago was a... Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, he was a black bouncer at a club and like basically got this guy down, like protecting the rest of the people, and he had a gun while he was like pinning this guy to the ground, and the cops basically walked up and said, "Oh, black guy with a gun, kill him." And they killed him. They killed this black guy who was actually like the savior of the whole event. He like saved everyone, and then of course they come in and just kill him. They murder him because they're
stupid, man. They don't think first.
It's because the big part of it, I think some of it comes from racism. I don't know about that exact thing.
Impulsive.
It's impulsive, and it's training. It's training. Like, I've seen the training videos. It's all just nondescript people. A lot of them people of color popping out of a car, putting their hands up, and then reaching for their waist and shooting the cop. And they say, "You're dead." So you need to prepare for that. You're dead. Like it's just scared. It's scared tactics. Yeah, it's your life is in danger. Your life is in danger. You need to protect your life. But that's what a police officer is. That's what like law enforcement, and the same thing with like military people. It's like that's your job. It's like if that's the kind of job you want and you want that sort of responsibility, then you need to put your life on the line. Your life is not on the line if every time that you get scared and you see a person that makes you uncomfortable, you shoot them. Then you're not doing any good for the society. You're just murdering people that you don't like.
I wonder if more people got shot by the police that were unarmed, or more police officers were shot last year. I'd be curious to see the comparison.
I would say there's almost no contest that it was definitely unarmed people got shot. You can check that.
I will.
You can check that right now. All right, so Ari, you look this up. What's the stats on the cops killed versus unarmed people
Because
killed?
the number changes, so I'm gonna say it's a ratio. I'll just give a broad ratio. It's between 10-1 and 20-1. So like about 10 or 20 times as many
unarmed
people are killed each year as than armed police officers are killed in shooting attacks.
And what I would say is that number is probably even more striking because there are people that are like, okay, so for instance, like Philando Castillo, would he be considered unarmed? Because he had a gun, but he told the officers he had
the gun wasn't in
a legal concealed carry
The
permit.
gun wasn't in his possession. The gun was in the same car as him, but he was.
But is that considered armed?
Yeah,
that's what I'm just
I
saying.
would consider that an unarmed shooting.
I would agree because it wasn't on his body.
Yeah, it wasn't even close to his body. It was like under the girl's seat.
But that's what I'm saying is like that might be considered an armed shooting, and I think if the cops had their way, they would mark it down as he was armed. I was scared for my life.
So
even though
anyone who sees that video is just like this guy, like how the fuck anyone ever gave him a gun is fucking appalling.
You're saying the cop?
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I mean, that's
like a puss, man. Just
yeah. That's the thing is these people are a lot of these cops that do these sorts of shootings. They are at their core just frightened children that were bullied as children, and now they want to be the big tough guy with a gun that gets to lift weights and get a big thick hot dog neck and wear their Oakleys and bark orders at people and have them like do whatever they want. Like I watched a video the other day of there's a black guy sitting on a sidewalk and the officer goes, "Cross your legs, stretch them out. Now tuck them in. Now stretch them out. Now turn around. Now put your hands this way. Oh, now do a downward dog." And like telling him all this shit, and then he just tases him. He tases this guy who's like completely doing exactly everything he says. But another thing I was going to say is that unarmed thing doesn't even account for people who have like a knife. And I've seen like various like videos from countries where they're like they don't have guns, like the UK police.
Yeah.
Take down people with knives, and it's no problem. Because most of the time you just talk them down. You say, all right, man, hey, we de-escalate. But that's the thing that cops in America are not taught to do. They're not taught to de-escalate. Yeah, that's what they're taught. It's a very militaristic thing, and now that they have more and more military technology, like they have tanks and things like that, it's just like, of course, that's going to get worse and worse. As you militarize the police, of course, they're going to act more and more like a military force, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to be trained to kill people as opposed to de-escalate situations and go, okay, hey, can we all just, like, figure this out? Like, let's calm down. Like, there's no reason to get violent here, or there's no reason to blah, 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 blah. But in so many cases, they escalate the violence. Like, and I've been detained by police for no fault of my own, but because we quote-unquote look suspicious because we were skateboarding or we were walking down, some sort of like quote like a street like off the main street, and they were like, "Oh, we think maybe you were spray painting." And like so there's one example of like we were walking in my college town, and they thought they said, "Oh, well, we got reports of people spray painting in this area," and I watched them count us. It was like there was like 6 guys and 2 girls with us. And so they counted us and said, "Oh yeah, what was?" One guy asked the other guy, he's like, "What was the report?" "Oh yeah, it was like they were counting, and they're like, "Oh, it was like 6 guys and 2 girls." And we were like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, so we were like, "Okay, like yeah, why don't you search us? Like what if you look at our hands? Like there's no spray paint on our hands. We don't have any spray paint." And they're like, "Well,
you'd be able to smell it."
Yeah, exactly. They were like, "That wouldn't clear you. That wouldn't clear you at all." And so they were like, "You guys just sit down in the grass, okay?" Because we were on like someone's lawn. So we sit down. And they're like drunk, like it was a college town. There's like drunken people walking around without shoes on, without shirts on, like all around us. And we were all sober, like just walking around. And they're like, so in the end, what they did was they were like, "All right, everybody, palms up." And they searched our palms and they let us go. And so I was like, as we were like going away, I probably shouldn't have been a smart ass, but I was like, "Oh, so wait, when you said like checking, like if we didn't have any spray paint on our palms, that wasn't going to let us go?" And I like, "Wait, isn't that what let us go?" And the cop was like, "You just get out of here." I was like,
"Get out of here, boy."
You know what you can do? Get. It's just like, oh man, like it's so dumb. Like it's just like, but they were all like there was like 10 cops there, like all just to like sit down these like like a bunch of like mealy mouth college students. So it's just ridiculous. We were all just
describing
like,
yourself. Are you a mealy mouth college
yeah.
student?
It's just I didn't know what I was doing. I was like 18 at the time. I was just like, and I don't know. I'm just like
Young and dumb,
I'm just hanging.
spray paint.
Yeah. Spray paint. I didn't. We weren't spray painting. We weren't doing anything bad. We were walking around. I don't know what their deal was, but they were really trying to get after us. This was very strange. But
hangry.
They're just trying to prove the point that they're tougher than us. A bunch of 40-year-old thick rope neck men with Oakleys on were tougher than us. Yeah, that's real impressive, Todd. I don't know, man. I hope police can garner more respect in the future, because I would like to respect cops, but for the most part, I can't really have too much respect for them, because there's been a few that I've had interactions with that were nice, but most of them just like have tried to intimidate me, even if I haven't done anything wrong. They like really try to act tough, and it's just like, can you be a person? Like, can you act like a person, maybe?
I think they're just really bad with young people, man. I think they just like they see a young person and they're just like, let's disrespect them.
Maybe, and the thing is I'm always super respectful because I don't want to get shot. Like, I've seen enough police brutality videos, even against white people, that like, I don't want to get shot, so I'm always just like, yes, sir, no problem, sir, blah, 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 blah. And, like, that was probably the one instance where I was just, like, really angry because, like, they detained us for so long and, like, we clearly didn't do anything wrong. Like, no one was even, like, a lot of us were over 21, but clearly none of us have been drinking or doing anything wrong. And they were just being such dicks about it.
Props, man. I mean, I usually respect authority, teachers, or, like, whatever, government officials, but with cops, I'm the opposite, man. I turn vicious and disrespectful, especially if I know I haven't done anything wrong. It's one thing if I get pulled over for like whatever, like not having my lights on or speeding or something.
Yeah.
I know I've done something wrong, and then I'm respectful. But when they start harassing me without reason, which they've done, same thing, man, half a dozen times, I just get vicious, and they just get more egged on and just pissed off.
That's the thing, is like, I don't trust them to control themselves enough, because I don't think their training is good enough. Like, I don't know that this person is like a stable individual.
It depends on like the situation though. Like if you're just standing on the street, like what are they going to do? Just pull out their gun and shoot you for?
If you reach for your wallet too fast when they ask for your ID, maybe. I mean, that's exactly what happened in the Philando Castile video, and that's what I would suggest is like people that haven't watched like police brutality videos, like. I've pretty much sworn off them because I've seen too many of them. I've seen 12-year-olds get killed. I've seen Philando Castile get gunned down and watch him bleed to death basically on camera. Like, I've seen people get killed in front of their children. Philando Castile got killed in front of his kid. Like, I've seen countless videos of it. I saw the white guy, who was he in Arizona? The guy that had the BB gun that was like crawling down the hallway.
Oh, you saw that?
I watched it, man.
That's the worst one I've ever seen.
I don't know. Philando Castile was like pretty bad.
Philando Castile was bad, but this one was worse because I've never seen someone basically beg for his life and still get shot.
Yeah.
Philando Castile was fucked up and scary, but that guy, basically the cops wanted to kill him. They came in intending to kill that guy.
Well, that guy had. What was it? The cop had like something engraved.
The BB gun it wasn't even with him.
I was gonna say the cop that killed him.
Yeah.
He had an AR-15 and engraved on it was like die or something. It was like just like kill or something.
I mean, you could hear the cop was basically ready to kill him. You could hear in his voice, man.
Yeah.
This guy was like, I mean, I think he was like a beer deep or something. I mean, he was just terrified, and he couldn't even sit up straight, and like. The cops were just ready to kill him. I mean, especially the guy who actually did. He was just begging for him. He's just like, give me the fucking chance, I'll murder you.
Yeah.
And he did.
And yeah, exactly. That's what they did. Oh, okay. So here's a Mesa. So basically, he had inscribed on his AR-15, "You're fucked." So if that tells you any kind of mentality that cop had.
That guy, I mean, yeah.
It's disgusting. And most of those people face no sort of culpability for their actions. Most of them, they get paid leave. They basically get literally a paid vacation from their job, and they get hired somewhere else. That's what they get. So basically, it incentivizes you to kill someone. I mean, you could talk about what that does to you psychologically, but I think most of these people have some sort of problem with their mental state anyway.
If you're killing an unarmed person, Yeah, sometimes it's a mistake, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to say.
Well, there are certainly issues with that, but I think if you do kill someone who is unarmed, I don't think that automatically means that you're a bad person. Maybe you did make a mistake, but I think you need to pay the consequences of that, and you should never ever be able to touch a firearm again. You made that mistake. That's a serious, like, you should never touch a firearm again.
Yeah.
In a occupational capacity or in a civilian capacity. No more firearms for you. I think that's a fair agreement. You killed an innocent person. Okay, you're done with guns. Maybe that doesn't mean that you have to go to jail, but you pay your pittance and what that is, and then you can return to the workforce, maybe even return to the police force in some capacity, but you never touch a gun again. And I don't think that should be a tough thing. Even if you killed someone on the job and you were totally justified, like they shot at you first, I think you should take a break from guns for a while.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
I'm not saying never again, but yeah, maybe you get put on desk duty, and like the whole thing in like movies and TVs is like, oh, you're on desk job, like you're a pussy, like it's absolutely ridiculous. But that's the whole problem with the whole culture in the policing is like that's what it ends up being. Then you have also cultures of like white supremacy within police departments, so that's.
Oh, speaking of which, time to get on this video.
All right, so yeah, describe this video before we play it.
And this is an older video, I guess, with a man who makes a colored comment to a woman, and she takes it a little bit over the top.
All right,
to say the least. But there's two sections because basically the woman who was alleged that she was sexually harassed. Mm-hmm. She uploaded basically just a clip of herself in the hallway and her interactions with the guy. Mm-hmm. But if you actually watch the video from the appearance that they both made in the city council beforehand, it actually gives a little bit more context to the story.
Oh, Jordan Peterson discussed this.
Yeah, it's not surprising. Jordan Peterson discusses anything that will get him any more attention.
Yeah, clicks. He wants clicks.
He wants clicks, and he wants people not to forget his name.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Please don't stop talking about me, guys.
Alright, hold on. Let me look for this video
My
real quick.
YouTube followers.
Okay.
Alright, so what's this video, Ari?
Okay, so like I said, it's the lady and the guy. So they're both talking at the city council meeting. So the guy's gonna talk first, and basically he's talking about introducing a new police precinct, I guess, in the city of Seattle, I think, like that. And she's with like Black Lives Matter, and she thinks that police are rapists, and that he's a rapist, and that's how they interact.
All right, let's hear them defend both their cases, probably quite eloquently, I imagine.
My name is Rudy Pantoja Jr. I live in the North End, grew up in the North End. We moved here in 1969. Grew up on 109th in Aurora. I am totally for a safe, learning, healthy environment in the North.
So he's just like for like, I guess, the introduction of this new police precinct.
Yeah, so he seems like he's a very
Classic neighborhood American.
I was gonna say classic suburban American, just in favor of like.
Oh, he is Hispanic.
Well, let's.
It'll come into play later.
Let's let it get to that. But I mean, the thing is like, again, like this is where we get into like some of the problems with identity politics. Is like, you can look at people who defend like the police or defend like racist institutions that are of people of color, and so that doesn't necessarily mean like you can look at like Jesse Lee Peterson. For anyone who knows who Jesse Lee Peterson is, if you don't know who he is, like you can look him up. He's basically a black guy that like hates black people, and he goes on various channels. I think he's been on Fox News before, and he's basically like a very incoherent guy who allegedly had, or at least in my opinion, has something wrong with him, or at least either he has something wrong with him, or he just is like in it for the money. Same thing with like a Candace Owens type. Like I don't know if they're like really have like drank the Kool-Aid on this, or if they're just they just have something wrong with him. but they're like very against black people. And
he's just saying that he's just thanking the police. I don't think.
I know. I'm not saying
crazy here.
I know. I'm not saying that he is necessarily in this deep because he's obviously not a famous person. Like he's at a local election. But I'm just saying that just because my point was that just because you're a person of color doesn't mean that like everything you say is right or everything you say is like going to benefit you as in your quote unquote class or your race or gender or whatever have you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
North End, I'm pro precinct. I believe it's a positive move in our public safety north of the Ship Canal. I have plenty of people that support it of all different backgrounds in the North End. I'm here.
Did you hear that? Mm-hmm. Somebody's shouting over him. Where are they?
Where are they? Yeah, that's a good point. He is here. I mean, you could ask, are there other people there that defend it? And another thing is like you have to get into like what is the.
Well, who cares? Well, you'll see afterwards. I mean, they're interrupting him basically.
Yeah, that's fair. I would just say like
just shout it over.
If you want to have one, you shouldn't shout out. You should let people make their point, and then you should rebut them if you have some sort of problem with it.
I'm here.
No interrupting the other speakers, please.
I want to say this, is I want to thank the North Precinct for getting my heroin-addicted daughter off the street and availing her an opportunity to get well. She's Latino.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Was she white?
White.
Yeah.
That's extreme.
She's Latino.
She's Hispanic, Latino, Chicano. We're proud of our heritage. I want to say this right now. I respect you when you speak.
Hey, excuse me.
You hear the bird sounds?
What is? Yeah. Why are they making bird sounds?
They're trying to silence him.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, man, I probably like I'm not. We just had a conversation about policing. Like we can have a conversation about policing all day, and until they reform their tactics.
They're making bird sounds like each other.
Yeah, already what I told you before. No, can't make it. It's like, but it's a waste of time. Like you, and it makes you look like the asshole in this situation. Like let the fucking guy talk.
There has been several interruptions. I'm going to allow him a couple more seconds to wrap up his comments. I need you to wrap up your comments, though, because I'm trying to stay on time.
What I have to say doesn't matter. Because I live in...
It's true. It's true.
I really, seriously, what matters is what everybody else has to say. We support this precinct. We think it's an important investment for public safety in the North End.
He loves talking about the North End.
Thank you.
My name is Anna Joshi.
Oh, okay. This is the lady.
Oh, that confronts him.
Yeah.
So what I will say is he did get attacked. Not attacked. He got spoken over, which I think you should let the guy talk.
He got heckled.
Yeah. And so you're not a comic, and so you don't deserve that. And even comics don't deserve that. But you're not
deserves to have bird noises.
You're not expecting that, and yeah, no one should make peacock noises at you. That's absurd. But the thing is like he also didn't make much of a point.
He had like 30 seconds. Like
I know,
what
but
did you expect him to say?
I know, and I understand that this is like a local thing, but my thing is...
I completely understand the interracial dimensions of introducing a new police precinct, but we need to conduct a study first.
But that's all he did was come up there and say, "Well, I'm in favor of it."
What do you expect to see? Council
I know, but that's
okay. Let's see
that's
Zelda
all.
says.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Let's see what Zelda
Let's
says.
critique
See if
her
what
too.
she says is better.
To support Black Lives Matter. I'm here to speak to block the bunker. The fact that there is even a proposal to give what is a corrupt, murderous, institutionalized gang $160 million is outrageous. It is not that they are just a few bad apples, because all of the other apples around them speak for them and protect them. That means
You just see her voice getting louder and louder.
Yeah, she's too close to the microphone. She needs to learn to draw distance. But what I would say is, this is the thing is like if they would be a little bit better about how they conduct themselves, I would probably mostly agree. I don't think it's a few bad apples. I think we have a completely corrupted police force in the U.S. and it's systemic.
But you're actually kind of nodding. What she's saying is basically that like there's a few bad apples and then all the other guys are shit and they just cover up for like the mistakes of a few. What you're saying is that the system is broken and that the actual training system, we're not talking about individuals at fault. We're talking about a broken institution.
I mean, some of the individuals are at fault.
Yes, some of the individuals, but basically she's saying that all of the individuals are at fault. That's her argument.
I mean,
it's a different argument for the same thing.
Nobody
says that police are perfect.
Yeah, of course.
She's saying that all police people are shit.
I don't know. I really don't like police, but I think a lot of them end up being corrupted by the system.
They're people too. We
can definitely agree that they're all people. All the people in the police. There are a few that maybe aren't people. They're monsters, but I would let's continue and see what else she has to say.
they're all bad apples. These cops are the front line of defense for fossil fuel companies, for banks, for corporations, and for the developers that evict people and make them homeless. This money needs to go to people who need housing, to people who need food, to people who need...
They cut off her mic. She didn't need the mic, honestly.
Is Jackie Levitt here?
I think in some ways that she's right about that, because they do tacitly do things like that, like they break up protests and things like that. But I think the bigger problem is the corruption in the government. I mean, yeah, the police often end up being like a tool of the government in some ways, but I don't think it's like the direct action of the police to like go out and like be a corporate tool. I mean, in a lot of cases they end up becoming that in some ways, but I don't know. It's just like
she has a very militaristic view of the world. Obviously, she thinks that everything is kind of like a war. That basically like it's a war zone. That the police are not a protective force, not a public service group. They're a gang that's like acting on behalf of an evil government.
I think in some ways they can be. I think certainly in some ways they are, but that's not the whole picture. I mean,
just her narrative view of the world.
So that would be my thing. Is like, what would her? I didn't hear any solutions there. I didn't hear any sort of.
No, I mean, and the police, and then.
But that's the thing is,
her gang.
I think even she would probably admit, if you got down to it, what should be done, she would probably say reform the police, which is, I would agree with that 100%. Like,
I don't put words in her mouth.
Of course, you can never put words in her mouth, but if you're in favor of ending police altogether, I feel like you're in favor of anarchy, which then I would put you in bed with the sort of like
with the fossil fuel companies.
No. Absolutely not. Like those people are like oligarchists or monarchists.
Well,
like,
they want to control. They want no government. They want no one enforcing.
No, that's not true. They want to control the government. I think it's completely opposite. If you want no sort of rules, like I think maybe she would like to control the government too. But if she can't do it, what she's arguing for is no police force, and what she's basically.
I think we're reading way too much into her argument because she didn't actually say anything in her 30 seconds.
But that's the thing is,
just like him,
she didn't have. Neither of them had like a great argument, but like what I would put her in is what I'm trying to say is like I would put her in like an anarcho-capitalist type of argument from the opposite side, which is basically like. Anarchism. So it's just like, okay, no roads, like basically we're living in fallout.
I get what you're saying, but she honestly said none of that, and I don't think she's ever thought this deeply about the issue, honestly.
Okay, that's fair. All right, let's listen to the original video here. So break this down for us. What happens?
Okay, so this is after the city council meeting. So the I guess one of the local news, based on the outside of this video, the local news is interviewing Rudy Man.
Mm-hmm.
and then she goes to confront Rudy, and I forget both of their names. We'll see what
Chaos
happens.
ensues.
Yeah, it gets
Right now, the news is interviewing a person whose daughter was a heroin addict, I think, is what he said in his public comment. And he's pro-bunker, he's pro-cops. And so he's the one getting interviewed, and there are like a million people who have spoken about how they've been abused.
What does she mean by bunker?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Something the issue there.
Because what people on this, so you guys can always obviously go watch these videos. It's under Hugh Mungus, HUGHMUNGUS on YouTube. But yeah, she was holding like a sign that said like
It's an old meme.
break the bunker or something.
Yeah, I think it's something to do with like the police culture or whatever, the police station. I honestly don't know exactly what that means.
Okay.
But she's labeled him as pro-police because he's
Clearly, yeah.
in favor of this new precinct building or whatever.
By the cops, but they're not being spoken to. Only the person who's pro-bunker, who's also a person of colour. So they got their token, and that's the one that they're using. And I have no idea, we'll find out.
What the hell?
I don't know. She's a weirdo.
Okay, so we just laughed because she like stopped and looked at the back of the camera from the news site and or from the news corporation, and basically there was nothing there. It was very strange. She's like approaching the news people right now, and
Yeah. Here we go.
here we go.
Yeah? Yeah, sure.
Mungus.
Okay. Humongous what? Humongous what?
Mungus.
Humongous what?
Humongous.
Humongous what?
Humongous.
Humongous what?
That's what it is.
Humongous what? Is that sexual harassment?
No, it's humongous.
Then why did you say that to
That's
me?
my name.
What? Humongous what?
We don't want to get too lost, Carry on this. We're too long. Getting sucked into this beautiful video.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
He later claimed basically that this was just a fat joke, basically, because he
is a chubby man.
he's
so-
a real big man.
So that could be argued either way, and there obviously is this some sort of a sexual connotation that can be taken from that.
She's accusing him of sexual harassment for the joke.
Mm-hmm.
Humongous what? Is that sexual harassment? Is that what you just did when you said that to me?
What, humongous?
Why would you say that to me?
Yes, but my name.
Why would you say that to me?
Why would I say it?
Why would you say that to
Why
me?
would you ask me my
You
name?
probably turn the volume down.
Yeah, I gotta turn the gain down on the microphone because that's getting a little bit absurd.
I don't know, wake the neighbors up either.
Yeah, all right. Hold on, I'll turn it down a little bit.
Or Jesse, poor Jesse.
Sorry, Jessie. And she's blue drying her hair.
She's
Jeez.
like, I need to cover up the noise.
She hasn't heard anything in the last hour. She's been taking a shower like Abby for 12 hours. All right, go ahead.
What? Humongous what? Humongous what?
Look at this guy's face.
Humongous what? Humongous what? This person just spoke to me in a sexually harassing way. Yeah, he did. He said, do you know what my name is? And I said, what? And he said, humongous. Yeah. Yeah.
Hear that reaction?
Wait, did she say he winked at me?
I didn't hear that.
I thought she said he winked at me in a suggestive way, but I didn't see him wink.
I didn't see him wink either. Unless her cell phone video didn't capture the magic moment.
It's possible. I don't know, but that is Anyway, What? Let's continue.
This person just sexually harassed me. Yes, that's right. Humongous what? So now you're actually pointing to yourself. You're actually pointing to your body part, and you're actually pointing.
For the record, that looks like his belly, not his dick, but
It's definitely up for viewer discretion, but I mean,
I don't think he was trying to hit on the lady. I'm pretty sure about that, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that like even if he wasn't trying to hit on her, he could be like quote unquote sexually harassing her, but it's That's pretty mild. That's pretty mild when it comes to it. I mean, this is not, and again, this is not like some sort of systemic thing. Like, this is not her superior or anything, and I'm not in favor of any sort of sexual harassment.
I think it's just like a stupid joke. Let's say that.
Okay, yeah, I could get on board with this as a stupid joke, and if she wanted to say, "Hey, bud, fuck you," like I think that's like you're like trying to like make a sexual joke of me, and I don't appreciate that.
No,
and if
but she just like took it
yeah
10 steps further.
And if he said, yeah, that wasn't right of me, then you could say, all right, well then that was his bad. And if he says, no, I wasn't, but maybe you think he was, then you could say, well, he's being a dickhead. But like that's all it was.
Well, she's obviously got a huge anger problem.
Yeah, she's got a chip on her shoulder about something, and maybe that's something in her past, or maybe that's just she wants to feel self-important about something.
She's got a
Who
chip
knows?
on her shoulder because her accent is just so fucking pompously English. She just wants to be American like all the other cool Americans in the world. She lives in Seattle and she just desperately wants to be an American.
Maybe.
She's upset, man. She's upset about her accent. She's upset about his accent.
I don't know what
She's
it
like,
is.
look at this Hispanic guy.
I don't know if it has anything to do with accents. I think you might be looking
I'm just spewing nonsense.
I know, you're just talking shit, but that's alright. That's what we do here. Alright, continue on.
To your body part and saying that you're humongous. You're actually doing that. And this is the person who just got interviewed as a pro-bunker person of color, as if you represent us.
Represent us. This is another criticism I have. This identity politics and this obsession with race. Like, she's upset that they classified him as a person of color to some extent, and that she's also a person of color. So like that, I don't know. Who cares? Like, Americans are Americans. It doesn't matter what color you are. Thank you very much.
I would disagree with you a little bit because it definitely makes a difference. If you look at the statistics, again, going back to unarmed black people getting shot.
She's talking about who got to speak to the television station.
Well,
She's saying, oh, he's the person of color that got chosen. Now he's representing all of us. What does that mean? Are all of people of color the same? Well, what does color even mean?
Well, I think that's the thing. It only that is true, but only insofar as much as like the Fox News crowd, or like the very like MSNBC super hyper liberal people, and of course that kind of it tends to her type of people. So in terms of the far right,
well, I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm just saying like. So in terms of like the far right, like Fox News people, if they see a black person say black people need to pull their pants up and like black people are fucking lazy, then they're gonna be like, yeah, fucking black people are lazy, and that's good.
This is not a racial thing. This is a local news story.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is that's what she's saying, and the only people on the left that get super excited about that are people that are super into identity politics, and they go, oh, this fucking black person like. Is like a smear on all black people, or they say like this black person said this, so like I have to believe it, and it's just like no, you need to like of course black people and people of color's stories matter, and like their personal experience matters.
Yeah,
but
just like everybody.
But at the same time, it's you have to base it on evidence.
Anyway, she's just being race obsessed, and I don't get it.
That's fair. I understand your point. Yeah, I understand your point. But I think.
Who cares that he's Hispanic? Who cares that she's a person of color?
This is the thing is that.
What does that have to do with a police precinct placement?
Because the way that police affect people of color is different from.
Okay, she's Indian for the record.
I know, but
South Asian people are like the least affected by police violence.
Probably after like white-skinned East Asians. I would say
Asian people are the lowest, like flat out, man.
Yeah, I know, but if you were to discriminate between like brown Asians and white Asians, it's definitely different. Because like I have Cambodian friends, they're darker skinned, they get.
She's wearing a sari during this entire thing.
I know, but listen to what I'm saying.
So nobody's gonna misidentify her, you know, if somebody's trying to racialize her.
I get it, but what I'm saying is like. Definitely, people of color are treated different from people that are white in America. So, like,
yeah,
the point is taken. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, so this is the thing. These are the things we have to parse out.
I get what you're saying, but I don't.
So there is something to
I think it's inappropriate.
identity affects the way you're treated. So I think that's important. But I agree. She's kind of making
She's identity
a
obsessed.
mountain out of a molehill.
She's identity obsessed, in my opinion.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not gonna disagree with you.
Well, like the fact that he said this Hugh Mungus joke. What if she was a girl? Would she have
Wait,
said
are
the
you
same
saying?
thing?
Are you saying she's? Yeah.
She's with female identity politics, with racial identity politics, with everything.
But she's identity politics obsessed. I don't know if it's sexually. Yeah, I mean in one
Sexually
way
or
it
racially?
is sexually obsessed, but
She's sexually obsessed with Hugh Mungus. Okay, let's continue.
all right.
They're using you as a token, and then you speak to me in a sexually harassing.
Okay. There you got it right there. They're
Yeah.
using you as a token.
Yeah. I think people do use people as tokens, but yeah, I disagree with her necessarily on this exact case because like maybe they are using him as a token.
Who's
but
they? Who's the they, man?
The
Hispanic
news,
people
the
are not
news-
a monolith.
The news media.
You think the news media cares about this police precinct? I don't think they give a shit. I think the news media doesn't think about anything political. Well, you're
I
not talking
disagree.
about CNN. You're talking about like local, like Channel 6 News. CNN.
Well, the thing is they're all controlled by like Sinclair now, so maybe not.
Yeah.
That's the thing
We're
is
speculating now.
that's the thing is that it gets into speculation. So
The
who
fact that
knows?
she called him a token means that she's overthinking the racial aspect of this. In my opinion.
Yeah, probably to some degree. And my thing would be just have a conversation with this guy.
Yeah. Instead of screaming.
Manner. How dare you? How dare you? Disgusting! Disgusting!
Just for the record, you can hear that there's not only one person. She's got a little crew with her.
Yeah, and what
Or
she's
big crew, I don't know.
what she's doing
a
is
humongous crew.
what she's doing is like she approached him in like a very it's a humongous crew. So instead of like approaching him in like a civil way and saying like I think the way you're viewing this is wrong and this is my perspective, she basically like attacked him right off the bat personally and then said, "What is your name? What is your name? What is your name?" And then he made a stupid joke which may have been sexual, may have not. And if it was sexual, like that's out of line, but I wouldn't consider it necessarily sexual harassment. He's in no position to like sexually harass her. Like if he was like, "Hey baby, like I want to take you back to my crib," like that's getting on that level. But just saying, "What's your name?" "Oh, my name is Hugh Mungus." That's like saying your name is Hugh Mungus is too, especially for a fat guy. Like that's too ambiguous to say you're sexually harassing someone.
I agree
And then
with you.
if he doesn't continue on that path anymore, and you're just following him down the hallway, like basically just harassing him, then worst case scenario, you're 1-1. Like he harassed you sexually, and you're just harassing him in general. Why do you have to destroy your own cause? Like
We should get a woman in on this. We should invite Abby and have her comment on this video.
yeah. Well, let's finish this, and then we'll send it to her, and we'll see.
Too bad Jesse didn't want to get involved.
Well, Jessie never wants to get involved, and I don't know what that stems from. If that's she doesn't care about this stuff, or if she's just lazy. And Abby never wants to get involved, and I don't know what that stems from. If it's just she's look at the stream we did last night. So for anyone
It's Instagram's fault.
for anyone who doesn't know, we have a Twitch free China post. One word, free China post. Follow us. Sometimes we stream DOS games. She was on that stream for like an hour. She said like six sentences, and like 5 of them were in Chinese.
Yeah.
She just sat out here and was like,
Well, she couldn't see the screen in her defense.
and you at one. Well, but she could have at least talked. You can just talk. We're your friends. We
She's
talk.
tired. She's tired, man.
I don't know. I just it frustrates me a little bit.
She's who he is. She's who she is.
I'm gonna tell her you called her a he.
You can tell her that.
All right.
Disgusting! You just abused a woman! You just abused a woman! You have the audacity! You have the
Wait, what did he say?
I don't know what he said. I don't know what she said either because they're all. He's
Yeah,
not
right.
screaming, but everyone else is screaming.
Let's listen closely.
abused a woman! You just abused a woman! You have the audacity! You have the
Because she said you just abused a woman, which is like
I think he said I didn't do that or something like that.
I think I thought he said something about abusing. He said like I didn't abuse a woman or something, but like Yeah, he didn't abuse a woman. He said his name was Hugh Mungus, and
Well, she considers that sexual harassment and therefore abuse.
yeah, this is where like you're destroying your own case. Like you're not holding out your own case by just like screaming down this guy who's like clearly cool-headed. Like, and if someone was like out and out evil, like if this was like a Ted Cruz and he's like maintaining his cool and you're just screaming at him, like I could get on board with you. But like this guy,
Ted Cruz.
this guy is like not really done.
You
anything.
sniveling coward! I'm gonna follow you and hide me home later.
No, so did you hear about the Tucker Carlson news?
What, his tie has been fake all along?
Yeah, well, his bow tie grew into a real tie finally. He became a real boy. So, but no, the thing was so there were protesters outside of his house, and they were basically like, I don't know. I still am on the fence about whether you should protest outside of someone's house.
I think any public figure should fucking shut the fuck up about anything that ever happens to them because of their publicity and the choices they make in the public sphere.
I would generally agree. And
if you want to be a celebrity, you have to face every fucking consequence because you're making money off that celebrity.
oh, he's super rich. He makes so much money, and he's
so he can suck it.
he's also borderline white nationalist. So I don't give a fuck about him.
I don't give a shit about any, even celebrities I like. Like, personally, man, you're gonna profit off of the public, then you're gonna fucking take the public heat.
Yeah, when it comes to politicians, a little bit. He's not a politician, obviously, so yeah, he's excluded from this category. But when it comes to politicians, especially their families, I'm a little bit more.
Fine, family, yeah, but not the celebrity.
But if you protest outside their house, that obviously includes their family. But the thing is, he lied about it. He said they were banging on my door, they cracked my door. All of that has turned out to so far not be true. The police.
Why were they protesting
The
him?
police report, because he's like basically a white nationalist. He's
No,
like,
what specifically?
they were basically just opposing him as in general as like
Why all of a sudden?
being on Fox News.
He's
Well,
been annoying for a long
Well,
time.
people have been protesting him, I think, for a long time, but I think maybe they just found out where his address is, and like in the age of
Somebody doxed him.
maybe, probably not though. Like it's probably pretty easy to figure
tie
out where he
store.
lives. I don't know exactly what it is, but like yeah, maybe the bow tie store gave him up. But whatever it was, like however they found out where he lives, like they figured it out, and so they're outside his house like shouting. We can watch the video of that after this if you want. But he like claimed all this stuff, basically saying like that they were like banging on his door and like he was so scared.
They raped my wife.
But
they ate my dog.
that's the thing is he's like one of these like I'm a tough conservative and like
If he was a tough conservative, he wouldn't be wearing a fucking bow tie.
well, that's true. I mean, I love bow ties, but I'm like a cuck liberal, you know, so I'm a progressive. But anyway, like, if he's this big, tough, conservative guy, shouldn't he have, like, a machine?
Shouldn't he grow a real beard?
Well, one, shouldn't he grow a real beard? I got a good beard going, by the way. Shouldn't he grow a real beard, and shouldn't he have, like...
It's humongous.
Shouldn't he have a huge... Yeah, my beard is humongous. Sorry, I didn't mean to sexually assault you, Ari. So, but shouldn't he have a gun inside of his house? Shouldn't he feel safe? Don't guns make you safe? Guns make you safe, right? They protect you from everything. That's why a good guy with a gun just defeats... Because all those...
Depends where it's pointed.
Because all those little cucks outside, they didn't have guns. All they had was their hands. So why is he so intimidated? Unless he's a little fucking pussy. I don't know. I get so upset with these right-wing people that are just like, I'm tough, I'm an alpha male, blah, 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 all these beta snowflakes, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like...
Beta O'Rourke.
Yeah. But it's just like, no, you're a coward. You're like the biggest coward ever. Someone comes and protests outside your house and you lie about it and say they cracked your door when that never happened. Like, you're such a little frigid, empty human. I can't deal with that sort of stuff. Like, you're clearly vapid and just like such a husk of like a human being and a shill. Like, there's shills, man.
I'm gonna rant about Tucker Carlson.
Man, I hate Cucker. I hate Cucker so much, and I hope he gets torn off the air. All right, to get rid of my rant, like let's continue on with.
Why would you say that?
Let's continue on with the video because I'm Ethan Bradbury.
Humongous what?
Audacity to say the girls matter? How dare you? How dare you, you disgusting person! Disgusting!
so he's walking out of the building, and the security's hoping that she walks out too.
Yeah.
Because she's just like creating a lot of hyphy nonsense.
I'm all into creating a scene, but like, yeah, you gotta do it in the right way.
Yeah.
You're not making yourself look good by doing it this way.
You gotta have a two-way discussion.
Now you guys,
I need to go.
you're okay. He's asking me to leave after I've been sexually harassed.
Yeah, she's pushing that claim.
Yeah, the sexual harassment claim, like, take all harassment claims seriously, but like,
Come on, nobody's going to jail for
this one's
humongous jokes.
Yeah, this one's on tape, and no one should be going to jail for things that they say.
Not only that, he already left the building, so like,
Yeah.
it's not like he's like hanging around there doing more interviews after the joke. He just left, and she's hanging around.
Yeah.
You're asking me to leave after I've been sexually harassed. Did you ask him to leave? Did you ask him to leave? Did you ask him
He already
to
left.
leave?
He already left. Yeah, that would be my thing. He left. He left
Don't
already.
sexually harass me. What is your name? What is your name?
She loves
What is
asking
your
people
name?
their names.
What is your name? What is your name? You work for the city. We are here in a public place. You need to tell me what your name is.
My name is Tanel,
Yeah?
and
To
I
know
work
what?
for a security firm. I
To
do
know
not
what?
work for the city, okay?
You work for us and you don't work for us.
Okay.
Yikes. Yikes.
Did you hear that? I mean, it's just technically, it's just like, I work for a security firm, I don't work for the city.
Yeah. Which you could make some sort of argument for if you don't work for the city, maybe
It's
they
a
should.
contract.
Maybe they should. Yeah. Maybe they should have people working there. But if they had someone working for the city, it would be the police, and she would have a problem with that too.
Well, they'll come soon. They'll come soon. This has only been going on for, if you look at the timer, 3 minutes. So that
Yeah, we're about halfway through this video right now.
they haven't had time to arrive yet. To deal with her sexual harassment claims.
That means I don't have to do what you want. You don't work for us. That means I don't have to do what you
Stop
want.
raising your voice at me.
What is your
And
name?
you are,
What
right
is
now,
your
you're
name?
breaking our building rules. You're being
No, sorry. No.
No! Okay, so he's like, you're breaking our building rules. Stop screaming. She's like, no!
No, I won't. I won't.
What is your name? What is your name?
Oh my
What is
goodness.
your name?
I've already told you my name.
What is your no, you haven't. What is your full name? What is your full name and what company do you work for? What is your full name?
Universal Protection. My name is Tanel Stefanes.
Okay.
I don't know why he cooperated.
I'm just asking.
You are questioning the wrong person. He just said.
And she's got a lot of people backing her up.
Yeah, I really hope I hope this guy didn't get fired because like
There's no way he got fired for this. He hasn't done anything,
he's
man.
been so cooperative. Like
He's just trying to keep her
he
from
did-
screaming.
Well, that's the thing. He didn't even raise his voice. He didn't raise his voice at all. Like when I deal with someone who's raising their voice at me, like I usually try to
Punch
remain-
him in the gut.
Yeah, you stab him and you twist the knife, you know? But no, usually I try to remain calm and generally I can probably do that. But like, man, sometimes you have someone screaming in your face like, what?
I saw another video from this fucking channel that's just like wasting my entire life yesterday of a teacher who just like he just lost it on a student. Maybe you'd be interested in that since we're both teachers.
Maybe we watch
Sometimes
maybe we
losing
watch that one tomorrow. I feel like we're gonna have enough to talk about this one because we've been talking about this video for like an hour now and it's.
Oh, that video is only like 15-20 seconds.
All right.
This has a lot of dialogue.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
He just said that he works for a security company, not the city. So I don't have to do what you want. So fuck.
Oh my god.
I was about to say, so fuck off. And he's
Yeah.
saying, well, yeah, he's like a rent-a-cop. That's the argument, so that she doesn't have to listen to him.
But he.
She's just asking her to stop screaming,
Yeah. It's
especially since Hugh Mungus already left.
Yeah, Hugh Mungus has been gone for a good 15-20 seconds now, and she just found a new guy to scream at.
Yeah.
So if
That's exactly what happened.
my thing is
Just wait.
yeah. Well, my thing is if you really feel like you're being sexually harassed, call the police. Call the police and see if they want to file a complaint. But I understand if you're upset, like especially if you are actually sexually harassed. I don't really think this is like real sexual harassment. and I think it degenerates the claims of sexual harassment. It's the exact same thing as identity politics in general. When someone is against the things that Israel is doing, for instance, against Palestinians, if you have a problem with that, we can have a debate about that, and I would probably side with you that the Israeli state is a apartheid state, but that's an argument for another time. That's a very complicated argument, and we're not going to have that argument now. But
You just made a huge
I
claim,
know,
and then you
I
just-
know, I know.
We can't talk about it
that's-
now.
We'll have that. We can discuss that another time. But a lot of people would say that, and so that's fine. But you need to like you. But my argument is like every time that someone wants to say like if you're against Israel, you're anti-Semitic.
I don't think most people won't say that. It's only when you make extreme claims. Like
I would disagree because like maybe for a normal person, but like on like Fox News, if someone says like maybe we should like
how often do you watch Fox News? Man?
no I see a lot of people cover Fox News, so like if someone's in favor of like BDS, they would say like oh like sounds like you're anti-Semitic. Like there's a lot of claims of anti-Semitism, even though on the right they're always against George Soros and they paint him as like this like grand puppet master, which is like a very anti-Semitic it's a very old anti-Semitic trope. So,
yeah, man, it's true.
So this is a very complicated way of me saying.
I agree with you. Yeah, you need to make a distinction between the state of Israel and anti-Semitism, but
but okay. You should say your part.
On the other hand, a lot, most like in Europe, I would say probably like 80% of the people who are involved in anti-Israel politics are actually like Palestinians or Arabs who are actually anti-Israeli. If you actually look at like the people who are involved in it,
I would like to look at this more. I don't know. I'm more talking. I'm more talking from an American perspective.
Americans are a lot less vitriolic in general. The UK is one of like the most hardcore countries on like BDS and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there are people. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of Americans that are in favor of BDS, but like the ones that are often get smeared as anti-Semitic.
Okay, if we were going to talk about BDS, I just want to say what's the point of BDS? Because it's one thing to enforce sanctions against what you would consider an autocratic government to change the autocrat's behavior. You're trying to enforce sanctions, basically voluntary sanctions against a democratic government who's elected by the people. So what effect would that have besides isolating the country, making it less likely that you can negotiate with them?
One thing I would say is first and foremost negotiate with them, but you're not going to get. And that's the thing is like I think a lot of people say BDS because our government is so buddy with Israel that they're just de facto.
True, we support them, but like if you want negotiations, man, you have to talk to the like decrepit 95-year-old head of the Fatah government who basically has refused to sit down for negotiations since like 2007.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's the thing. That's the thing is
didn't hold elections.
Yeah, both heads of state there are both old ass people. That
but one of them actually faced elections 3 times, and the other one has basically put off election. He's not a legitimate leader of the Palestinian people, and he hasn't been for well over a decade, man. Who gave him the right to speak for the Palestinian people? Nobody. Like, he lost that right when he fucking put off the elections, man. So who is there to negotiate with right now?
That's a fair argument, but no one's negotiated with Netanyahu in decades. No one's made real pushes against his government. To say, and you can. The thing is you can make a push against Netanyahu and at the same time push against the Palestinian Authority. You could say, okay, hey Israel, you're fucking up. Let's do a 1 or a 2-state solution. Like I don't really know. I don't think that there's really a 2-state solution option anymore. I would say. I just don't think that it's going to work out. If there is a 2-state solution, I think Israel's going to fuck the Palestinians.
For you to be against...
Currently. I'm not against either one. I'm not necessarily against either one. I'm just saying I don't think it's realistic.
The only reason would it be if you think those settlements are permanent, but a lot of people basically say that those settlements are just to increase their negotiating position for a final boundary line, man. If there's not going to be a 1-state solution, that's not going to end in genocide. I tell you that, like, right now. It's not going to happen. There's either a 2-state solution or one of those peoples is going to be annihilated. and that's a fact, man. They can't live together.
Yeah, as it currently stands, okay, I could agree with you.
100 years from now, maybe, if they tried to make it a one-state solution right now, it would devolve into a race war.
I think it's similar to in some ways to like the U.S. and Mexico. Of course, it's more than that because there's more history there. But if you get the people to understand that each side is people and each side has been manipulated by their government to hate the other, and of course that takes a lot of time.
I don't agree with you. I don't think that most Israelis actually hate Palestinians. From the polls that I've read,
what is the problem? Why are the Israeli snipers murdering Palestinian civilians?
This is a thing of anti-terrorism going too far, man. It's basically
It's similar to how the U.S. people view like Arabs. So that's my thing is when you get on the ground and you explain to the base level people that like we're all fucking people. You believe whatever you want to fucking believe. Like
it's not the same. Okay, with Mexico, it's not even close, man. You're talking about a country that's literally like 11 kilometers wide, and there's rocket fire like basically every year. Like,
but that's the thing is like the Israeli population is not significantly impacted by the Palestinians, whereas the Palestinians are routinely killed.
They're routinely killed. Yeah, but that's not to say. First of all, I mean the last Intifada ended not that long ago. We're talking like 15 years ago, and yeah, they've basically put like a really good missile defense system now.
They have the fucking Iron Dome.
Yeah,
man.
people don't die any longer. But that's only to say they don't die any longer. It's in living memory, man.
I know. I agree with you.
I was a teenager, and there was basically like a death every. There was a stabbing or a bombing every week.
I agree with you. I'm just comparing it to the U.S. and so people in the U.S. can understand in loose terms, but it's not the same. I agree with you.
It's impossible to understand. I can't even understand.
It's true.
I can't understand what it is to be a Palestinian for that matter either, man. Yeah. To live in it like a trapped little territory, I can't imagine that either, and I'll grant that.
It's very much. It's probably pretty similar to like a South African apartheid state, but of course it's nuanced and it's also its own situation.
The apartheid thing only goes so far because the Israelis never wanted the Gaza Strip and they never wanted the West Bank.
But using Israelis as is again, it's similar to saying Americans. It's like there's a
complete
split.
opposite. The United States. Okay, if you're talking about Americans in Mexico, the United States wanted the land and they took it from Mexico. No, the Israelis didn't want the land, and they basically they captured it in war, and when they tried to give it back, they refused to take it back. And they got stuck with this land filled with a bunch of
that's
very poor, very angry people who wanted their own country.
That's not my point exactly. Within like, I'm saying defining the U.S. as Americans and defining Israel as Israelis is not fair because it's a hodgepodge of people with a various degree of like what they consider Israel or as being Israeli. Just the same as that was my thing with America is like this lady that's on this video is American. And
that's debatable. I don't know. Who knows? She might be.
But she lives in America. Like she
might live in America.
She does. This is not an American.
Yeah, but she could have just been there on like a 90-day fucking tour.
It's true, but that's somewhat beside the point. Like the American is not like it's not a straight block of people that like all think the same thing. There's like completely varying degrees. There's like a huge. The Overton window is huge. Of course, it's like moving more and more to the right, in my opinion. But like there are people that think like you could like the right wing to varying degrees would say like Israel is right in all situations, and
yeah, they're not. Of course, they're not.
Of course, they're not. But that's what I'm saying is like it's not fair to just say Americans think this, Israelis think this. It's just
I agree with you.
So. But it generally ends up as like, what does the government of this country think, and how does the government of this country act?
I think the Israelis have done themselves a disservice voting for Netanyahu. Absolutely nothing to make the country better.
100%.
Every 3 years, just goes into Gaza and cleans up the shithole that they've gotten themselves into, but he hasn't made any forward progress. And if he really wanted to make forward progress, he would push the Palestinians a democracy, because they want to call themselves a nation in the United Nations. They have an illegitimate government.
So yeah, I would agree that that's somewhat
It's a dictatorship run by a militia. It's basically Somalia.
It's illegitimate, but the thing is like, how do you address that? If you support
force them to have new elections.
But if you force them to have new elections,
the Israelis control the entire money supply. They could easily force them to have elections if they cared about it.
But that's the thing is, if you force them, then people are going to say, "Well, you're forcing us." But
if they don't want to participate in the elections, then that's their problem. Like they should have elections. They should have the right to participate.
As long as if they said we want you to have elections and we want to have free and fair elections, they did everything they did to protect that, and they stopped murdering people, then I would
who
say,
stopped murdering who?
I would say both sides stopped murdering each other, but Israel is de facto in the higher echelon of things. Like, they are far more powerful. We just talked about the Iron Dome. Like, they're basically impenetrable. Like, we just watched like
well, they're definitely not impenetrable, but they're a lot stronger.
We watched a few months ago where basically people were trying to fly kites with fire over it, and they were getting murdered. Like that, the power imbalance is like striking there. So if you were to say, okay, we're not going to just shoot people indiscriminately. We're going to take the snipers off the border. If you break through the wall, that's another thing. We're going to use quote unquote less than lethal force. We're gonna tase you. We're gonna take you down. We're gonna shut down that border. We're gonna have lethal weapons there. And if you rush us, if you hurt someone, then we're gonna kill you. That could be acceptable to me.
The Israeli policy since Netanyahu came in has been nothing short of moronic for the past 15 fucking years, I'd say.
But that's what I'm saying you could push for free and fair elections, and I would be 100% in favor of that. But if you don't do it in the right way, the Palestinians are not going to trust you. They're going to think you're trying to pull one over.
I'm not saying the Israelis run the election. I'm saying they have election machinery.
But
they choose not to.
I know. I'm saying if the Israeli government is pushing for that and pushing the Palestinian Authority,
they're supposed to have an election. They already scheduled it, and they're just canceling it again.
I understand, but if you continue to kill people indiscriminately,
I don't see what one has to do with the other, because the violence is just back and forth for no reason all the time.
But that's the thing is
But it's also, you're talking about two different, essentially, states almost. Gaza has a different government than the West Bank. And they've had a different government. Gaza is run by Hamas, and the West Bank is run by Fatah. And neither have held elections, for that matter. But the Israelis have not had a major conflict with the West Bank in a long time. In a really long time. It's always with Gaza.
I understand. I'm just saying they need to be pushed further towards democracy, but they won't be pushed further towards democracy if there's continued violence. And I understand it's coming from both sides, but
how do you stop the violence? Because basically it's a cycle of violence, and it just escalates itself. But
it's becoming more and more one-sided, because, like we're saying, Israel is more and more protected.
You have to consider Israel as this is not a dictatorship. This is a democracy. Like, they can't just basically, if they sit there and they're like, oh, you know, we need to not let this escalate out of control, and a few rockets like land in some city. It doesn't matter that it doesn't kill anybody. These people want maybe revenge, but they want a response at the very least. And how does the government do that? And whatever the government does to respond, even if it doesn't kill anybody, it's going to encourage a new response. It's just cyclical, man. You've got two...
I understand. I think it would...
They're both playing their audiences.
I know. But that's what I would say. I would say that it boils down to you need to push... You need to have people who are more cool-headed in government as opposed to hot-headed. And of course, it's hard to, in a democracy, it's hard to elect that, especially if you're fired up, because people are getting killed, or at least, like you said, people are getting bombs dropped on them. So they're feeling defensive. I'm being attacked, even if people aren't being killed.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm under attack.
If a rocket landed in Zhongli or something like that, and it was from China, you and I would be like,
oh yeah,
like infuriated. We'd be like,
But that's more towards the side of Palestine than it is towards Israel, because we're on the smaller side. We're basically trying to prevent against.
They're instigating it. Basically, one side is instigating it, and they go back and forth with who starts each little.
But
fucking...
there's but the power difference
doesn't make either side more or less angry. We outside look at the power imbalance. They in there look at the power imbalance, and they're probably even more frustrated. They're like, "You guys just fucking calm down and stop shooting rockets at us."
But if you're in the minority, you feel more attacked. Like if. For instance,
half the time they're the ones who start the rocket attacks.
That's the thing, though, is if Mexico launched a rocket in the U.S., but they wouldn't, like, we could wipe them off the map. That's the thing. It's like,
that's your point.
We would, of course, we would feel.
The United States would do probably the exact same thing. They would respond with the utmost force they could, man. That's what you do when you're attacked. It doesn't matter if you think that, you're tiny and I could wipe you off the map. You're not going to be like, I'm going to take it easy on you because you're smaller than me.
I know.
You're going to be like, I'm going to show you how much bigger I am.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But clearly, but that's the thing is, it's true. But a little bit, it's not fair because America has such a big military that it's like kind of a joke. Because we have like probably 40 to 50 times the military that Mexico has. But the same thing is like it's again. It's not. It's like such a small, like fringe government. It's not even like really, almost even a legitimate government. So you don't. But you don't want to you don't want to punish all of the people.
I agree with you, and this is why the policy is like not done very well. But usually, what they do is they carry out whatever retaliatory strike against military institutions, and inevitably, because it's the Gaza Strip, man. It's like one of the most densely populated places in the world. There's a shitload of collateral damage.
Yeah.
And you could argue that they're not being careful and that they're being careless.
I would argue that.
Yeah, that's an argument to be made. And basically it just makes everything worse. And it's just a cycle of violence.
So that's what I think is when you have more and more people step in from different areas and you say, okay, we're going to help you. Because I agree with you, like the BDS movement, and in some ways I do support it because it pushes them to say, all right, man, we give you a lot. Like the U.S. gave Israel the Iron Dome, and we're giving you a lot of.
Did they? I thought the U.S. Israel claims that they developed them themselves.
I think the U.S. gave them the Iron Dome, but regardless, the U.S. gives Israel billions of dollars a year. We support them because they're a huge ally of ours.
Yeah.
So what you say is, okay. Like, we support you, we love you guys, like, you're a good ally, you help us out a lot. But if you're gonna do this shit, we're not gonna support you anymore. But, you know what we will do is if you want to make peace with the Palestinians or whatever you want to say, like, if you want to make peace with the people in these other territories, we'll help you. We'll do our best, and we'll get the UN and everyone else, and we all, as a world, work together. And like maybe that's a far-fetched dream, but like let's try to all work together.
I don't think either side doesn't want peace, but you've got so many of these little issues and these are strong-headed people.
But you need to
go.
One
is a dictatorial government.
Yeah.
Like, how do you enforce that, man? How do you actually like get them to sit down? And when you do, once you get other countries involved, these two little nations are just basically like fuck you to everyone else. These are our fucking issues. And if you try and get involved, like, you're fucking kicked out, basically.
Yeah, and I understand that, but that's the thing is...
The Palestinians already said that. The Palestinians already said, after the Jerusalem thing, which honestly was more symbolic than anything else.
But that's still like, really fucked up. Like, it's been so many... I mean, again, so many presidents have said that. Donald Trump was only the final one who actually did it.
It's been... Legally, it's already been the recognized capital since like 1996 under U.S. law. He just fucking moved the building. Like, he did so little, it's not even funny. And you know what the fucking dictator of the West Bank said? He said, the United States is no longer allowed to participate in the peace process.
Yeah.
So the BDS movement, if their goal was to help negotiate a peace process, they're now cut out. So good luck with that.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know. What I would argue is just like they should try to do as much as they can and like say, okay, well, what is going to be the best process towards peace? And not like an international negotiator, but like you would figure that these people could be able to figure it out. And you say,
man, they've had so long. They're really not interested. They're at this point. I think they're both trying to cater to their own fucking sides, and it's probably more popular to keep the status quo.
well, that's my thing is I think that everyone, even not even just those two groups, but like the world in general is not necessarily interested in like how do we sort this out? How do we make this more equitable for
I think
everyone?
the world really doesn't give a shit because there are a lot bigger fish to fry, like dealing with Syria right next door, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, man. What about the Lebanese government? Like there are bigger fucking problems in the world.
I feel like the U.S. has so much money and so much sway over so many things that we should try to do these things.
Money
As opposed to being
only
buddy,
do so much, man. We
opposed
failed in Afghanistan. We failed in Iraq.
but that's because those are stupid things to get into in the first place. Why do we get involved in either of those things in the first place?
What I'm saying is, you can have all the money, you can have all the good intentions, you can have decades of time, trillions of dollars, tons of resources, intelligence, manpower, goodwill, international support, and you can accomplish fucking jack shit.
But we haven't done that in a lot of cases, except for just going to war. Like going to war is not the same. Going to war is not the
only
same
lasted
thing.
what, a month? We tried to build a civil society.
We still have boots on the ground, and also Iraq was one of the most democratic nations before we invaded in the Middle East.
Are you talking about Iraq? Iraq was not a democracy.
It wasn't a democracy, but it was more democratic than a lot of the nations.
It wasn't democratic at all. It had military dictatorship. It was basically North Korea. How was it democratic? Are you thinking of Iran, probably? In the 1950s. Iraq was not a democracy since the military...
I know it wasn't a democracy, but
it wasn't democratic. I mean, are you talking about liberal, maybe? Maybe liberal.
Maybe liberal is what I...
It wasn't democratic, man. There was no democracy there.
But it wasn't as bad as some of the other democracies, or not democracies. It wasn't as bad as some of the other countries. But I don't know, man. The thing is like we don't really get anywhere with war. I don't understand why we haven't figured that out yet.
I agree with you, but we don't get anywhere with state building either, as Iraq has proved.
Yeah, but also through violence you rarely accomplish the goals that you want. And
You're right.
And I don't
There's no argument there.
I don't think we should have gone. We went into war with Iraq on a lie, so we shouldn't be there in any case.
We're getting way off topic, man. Let's finish the Hugh Mungus video.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah. We've got off topic for like
You make closing statements.
half an hour. No, it's okay.
I'll make a closing statement. You make a closing statement. I agree with you in principle. I think that military options are not great. I think that it's a cycle of violence and it's horrible. But I don't see any quick solutions or easy solutions, or they would have been done. I think this is so complicated and so long-standing.
No doubt, yeah. I don't think there are...
BDS is just like throwing like a shit-covered rag into a toilet.
I don't think that there are any easy solutions either, but I would much rather see us... Because, for instance, so a lot of people, when you would argue for like things like, okay, if I argue that war is not the answer, people would say, well, people are going to die anyway. Well, if they're going to die anyway, I would at least rather that like we don't have blood on our hands in the U.S. And I don't like people dying in any case. But I would say that why don't we... And there are some regimes that you're going to push for peace, and you're going to push for some sort of coming to the table and negotiating, and it's never going to happen. But if they didn't attack us, this is where I probably am more isolationist than you. It's just, I say, they didn't attack us. That's not our fucking problem, man. And I think we should go out and try to influence people. I think we should be, in the words of YouTube, we should be influencers. We should be fresh influencers.
I take a more utilitarian view, like that basically if we can save more lives, if we're pretty sure we can save more lives than would possibly die in the conflict, then we should consider it.
But I don't think we've been good at making that calculation.
We probably have never made that calculation.
I think we've made calculations, but our calculation has been shit.
Made calculation, but I don't think we've ever made that calculation where they actually try and consider how many deaths in collateral.
So that's what I would say is until we actually make realistic calculations and we sit down and think about it before we go to war, then we shouldn't go to war. Because we've done it way too many times and we always go to war. But this is, again, we've kind of had this conversation before, and we should, I should get more research before we do this conversation again, but we should finish this video so we can go to sleep sometime before like 4 a.m.
Let's go.
Who are you? Who are you? Did you go after the person who sexually harassed me?
Oh, the police are here.
No, that's the security guy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's too bad.
Notice how they didn't get the cops here. Notice how they didn't get a cop here today. They just got some more cops.
Mall cop.
Why did you do nothing about the person who sexually harassed me? I made it very clear. You just sexually harassed me. Why
Okay,
did you not go?
so for the record, this is a new security guy. He's not the guy in his suit. He's like a uniformed security guy.
Yeah, I thought he was a police officer because he had a little like
He looks like one, but the
he had
badge is
an
fake.
embroidered badge on his shirt.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Talk to him and tell him to stop. Why did you not do that? Why did you not do that? Why did you not do that? You deal with it, gentlemen.
The gentleman's gone already.
You lost the gentleman.
The gentleman's got already. Just leave. Just please go.
Yeah, he's not wrong about that though. The guy is gone.
Yeah, well, she wants him to like arrest the guy for, even though she calls him a mall cop. She wants him to arrest
Yeah,
the guy
exactly.
who's already left.
Assault the guy that you want to arrest the other guy that you think assaulted you. Well, call the cops.
Yeah.
Why didn't she call the cops?
Because she knows it's bullshit, man. Nobody's gonna go to jail for saying humongous.
Yeah, exactly.
Humongous. What's humongous?
My
Why would
belly.
you say that?
My belly. My belly button.
You want off? Why are you here? Why are you still here?
Because we're being really loud and we're disrupting.
Why are you still here? Because you're being really loud.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. She's standing up for herself.
I understand, ma'am.
No, you don't. You don't understand anything.
You don't understand. Hey, she's making personal attacks.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
You don't understand.
anything.
You're slightly less brown than me, so you're a fucking idiot.
She's standing up for herself. Did you just push him? What the? Stop pushing people who are defending me when you don't do your job and defend anyone.
There's so much anger pent up in this lady.
Yeah.
Fucking a-hole. Get your fucking after and go after the person who sexually harassed me.
Oh, man. She really wants that guy to jail for the joke.
What's your name? What's your name?
She loves names.
What's your name?
What's your name?
What is your name?
I want to find you on Facebook.
What is your name? You're here in a public place.
I watched another fucking critique, and they're saying that. Did you see that guy's face just now? That he was thinking of just like saying humongous.
Oh man.
Fucking
she would have like probably had a heart attack. There would
Just like pounding on
there would have been a brain aneurysm.
Okay, wearing supposedly security service. If you're gonna tell me what your name, if you're gonna tell your name is what? Who?
Butcher?
Butcher?
Yeah.
What?
Is that enough?
No, that's not. What's your full name? What's your full name?
Butcher Tara.
What's your full name?
Butcher Tara.
Butcher Tara? Okay, is that your first and last name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you okay?
What's his name?
She doesn't even know. She doesn't understand first and last name because he has like an ethnic first and last name. So she's like, wait. What? You're also like not like a straight up like a John Smith. Like how could this be?
She's just like,
I need to know what they're gonna do about the guy who sexually harassed me. That's what I need to know.
he's like, what the fuck? You can see there's like a smirk forming on the corner of his
yeah,
face.
he just doesn't know what to do with this lady.
He's like, what sexual harassment?
He wasn't even involved in the situation.
No, he wasn't.
So what is he supposed to do? He just came in and this lady's screaming at
He's
him
gonna
like,
file a police report about the humongous.
yeah, he's just like, you're a mall cop. What are you gonna do about the guy that sexually harassed me? He's like, I just showed up, lady. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
Did
she's
someone try to
contradicting
rape you in the
herself.
bathroom? And she's like, no, someone said Hugh Mungus to me, and he's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
I don't think anyone knows like the context of what happened.
Yeah.
They'll only know when they see their own face on fucking YouTube.
Yeah.
With
Yeah. Okay. I want to know why you interviewed him, but you didn't interview all of these other people.
there it is.
So
She
she's-
wanted
yeah.
an interview because she's the brownest person. That's what it comes down to. She says,
Yeah, I don't think it actually comes down to that, but I agree with you.
She's
That
like-
that's maybe her method of thinking
that's when she said it. She's like, they interviewed this other person of color, and then she called him a token.
Yeah.
For her, it's all about the fact that she didn't get the fucking screen time.
Yeah, she's not a token. I think there is a thing, and I talked about this earlier with some of the people like.
Yeah, but the reason she didn't get interviewed is because she's a psychopath, and
Yeah,
she's
because
obviously
she-
has rage control.
Yeah,
issues.
she doesn't have a clear. Well, the thing is like again with Jesse Lee Peterson. With certain news outlets, he's going to get more coverage. If he goes to Fox News and she goes to Fox News, or even if he goes to Fox News and someone who's like a Alexandra AOC, if Jesse Lee Peterson and AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, go to Fox News, Jesse Lee Peterson is going to get the interview, even though he's
Maybe.
he's no 100%.
Maybe.
100%.
Depends on the
No,
interview.
no. Okay, maybe, but he is almost one because he's gotten an interview with Fox News before. She hasn't, and she's
Probably not interested.
She's an incumbent.
She's probably not interested, to be honest.
Maybe, but that's the thing is they would smear her, whereas Jesse Lee Peterson goes on there and makes points that are easily debunked. That he lies. He's a clear liar. He doesn't make any sense. He's a fucking idiot. I challenge you to go watch his videos. We can watch his videos on the next tomorrow. We'll record another podcast.
But
And-
it's fine. Then he should go on the left shows too, and there can be a clear
But
debate
the
about it.
thing is he I've seen him debate people. He debated some lefty YouTubers, and he just looks like a fucking idiot.
Well, then
Like,
that's your point. Your point is you've
But
already
that's-
proved your point.
But that's the thing is, yeah, it's just they. But that's what I'm saying is like the news people won't necessarily interview the leftists because sometimes they're scared. Like Fox News isn't gonna interview Bernie Sanders and things like that. And maybe you're right. Like maybe Bernie Sanders doesn't have any interest to go on those shows because he knows they're just gonna smear him. But at the same
It's
time,
okay to get smeared if you're a candidate. Like, who
but that's
the
the
fuck
thing.
cares?
But that's the thing. A lot of times, I think they don't want them to come on because like they know that they're going to destroy them. Because Fox News often just they posted a thing about those Muslim
Don't even
women.
say the word destroy, man. These are complex issues and they need to be debated. When people think these like complicated things can be won in 2 minutes, that just shows how vapid you are and how simple-minded you are. If you think that you can change someone's opinion on an issue like abortion or whatever, social democracy, healthcare issues in a 5-minute segment on a news show, then you're not very intelligent to begin with. I think the people who really think that, man.
I think it depends on the issue, and I think of course not everyone is going to be swayed, but I think you could with a 5-minute soundbite you can sway a lot of average.
You can
Americans.
make a couple good crack points, man. But I think like these a Ben Shapiro or like whatever, these kinds of people, man, they just like attention, basically. No, they're not changing anybody's mind.
Yeah, they're not. Most people aren't changing anyone's mind over 5 minutes. You're right.
They just like
It's-
screen time.
But
They're
it's
attention whores.
it's over the long haul. If you want to change someone's mind, you're objective, and over the long haul, you get them to come to your conclusion because you show them evidence. I think it has to be evidence based, and I think a lot of those people, like you're saying,
These arguments, the arguments that most of these people make, like these aren't scientific fucking studies. The evidence they give is like little anecdotes or like simple crude logic.
depends.
Okay?
Yeah, it depends on what you're talking about.
Okay, let's say healthcare or something, man. The arguments that most people make for healthcare are based on like little snippets of statistics that are not extremely well thought out. If you actually want to read the policy papers, then all power to you. But like, that's not what people do on these TV shows, man. They give a couple little snippets, say a couple little things about their own personal value system, and that's it.
But I think
That's not.
I think healthcare is actually not the best one to argue against because healthcare you could argue against it pretty quickly. Like, what are the arguments against like a nationalized healthcare system?
What some people would argue on the right is that you lose some ability to some choice, I guess, that some of the better doctors would stay within a private system. That basically because more people are getting care, that there would be more rationing of care. Basically, it wouldn't be rationed by price as it is now. It would be rationed by whatever, by need, and some people don't like that.
But ration by need as opposed to ration ration.
I'm not arguing that point.
I know. You're obviously. We both live in a nationalized healthcare system.
These are the intelligent sides of the debate. So they're not gonna specifically argue that. They're gonna talk about death panels and they're gonna
but I think
inflate the issue.
Yeah, I get it and
distort it.
And of course you can distort and you can obfuscate.
And you're gonna say, oh, it's gonna be like Venezuela and
that's
3 years we're gonna be like paying $5,000 for a loaf of bread.
And the Republicans love to argue those sort of things, but I think healthcare is one of the easier ones to argue against because you can argue. Look at the Nordic systems. Look at every developed nation. They all have nationalized healthcare. And we're the most powerful, richest nation that the face of the earth has ever seen. How can we not?
It's just an example.
I know. I'm not shitting on your example. I'm just saying I think healthcare is one of the easier ones to argue against. But again, we got distracted. Let's get back to the video.
Oh, you want to? Okay, awesome. That's really great.
We're 50 people. We've got I wrote on absolutely everything.
Okay, and did you get his name? The guy who sexually harassed me? What was his name?
He sexually harassed.
Yeah, he did.
He sexually harassed me because he was there, man.
He did.
Is that her cameraman?
No, that's the news guy who was interviewing the guy
okay.
before.
And did she touch him? That's also sexual harassment.
Right after
He
you
was on the record. You can get in there. I
Okay.
wrote on his name, but I don't remember what it was.
Okay, great, because if you can go through your stuff and get it, I'd like it. It'd be really good because I'm gonna like complain about him. So I need to know like if you're since you just
Did she say I'm gonna complain about him?
Yeah. About the sexual harassment. She's gonna complain about Hugh Mungus.
That seems like a really odd word to use. I'm gonna complain about him. Like you already complained about him for like.
She means like to file a complaint with the city.
Make a complaint. Okay.
That's
All
what
right.
she means, I think.
We want to get both sides, so we're selectively for the.
right. So you got the side of the sexual harasser.
Huh?
So you got the side of the sexual harasser.
I was like, I don't want to talk to you later. Just go away.
You went in there and talked about how girls matter.
We interviewed him before this happened.
Right. Okay.
I wasn't even aware that that had happened.
It happened right behind you.
I wasn't even aware that it had happened because nothing happened. It happened right behind you,
This guy's calling
fucking
the cops.
white
So the
man.
guy who ignored the guy who sexually harassed me, the guy who sexually harassed me, the guy who sexually harassed me, and who got ignored by this person is calling
Here
the cops.
she's going after the security guard. Right? She just needs someone to be pissed at right now.
Yeah.
He's long gone.
Well, my thing is if she felt like she was sexually harassed, call the cops. And I understand that the cops don't always take sexual assault claims seriously.
Well, this is gonna make a huge difference with that when you have shit like this, man.
But that's the thing. This is the exact same thing that I have a problem with when it comes to identity politics, and when it comes to what I was talking about earlier with Israel. It's just if you say everything is anti-Semitism because you're anti-Israel. If you say because
you just take it too far.
Because everything against some sort of person of color is racism. Because anything against a woman is sexism. It cheapens that, man.
Yeah.
It makes it cheapens that.
I agree, man.
So it's just like if you make a serious claim of sexual assault or of racism or sexism or some sort of like anti-religious thing, like if you say someone is against me because I'm a Christian or like I got religiously persecuted, I'm the first person to jump on your cause because fuck all that shit, man. You shouldn't be discriminated for anything. If you're a Jewish, if you're a Jewish, and someone says like, oh, because you believe in this sort of thing, I'm gonna treat you differently. And I'm gonna say, hey, that's BS, man. Like get off that guy's case. He's just a Jewish, Yeah. You haven't even commented on the fact that I'm just saying a Jewish instead of you're Jewish.
Video.
I love saying I'm like this guy is a Jewish instead of saying he's Jewish.
Why? Because it sounds better.
It just sounds funny to me, But anyway, I hate that. Also, careful when you're putting down bottles on the table. You see all that? I have to edit some of those things out. Sorry, everyone. Ari just put a bottle down very aggressively on the table. Ari, your bottle is assaulting my table.
Let's finish this.
All right, let's go.
And you're not calling the cops on the person who sexually harassed me.
So he's calling the cops for the record.
He's calling the cops on the people.
Ma'am, if the guy sexually harassed you, you need to dial 911 and request for police.
Why would I call the cops when they act like this? They act like this.
For the building.
But he's not a cop.
What did
He's
she
not
say?
a cop. She said, "Why would I call a cop? Why would I call the cops when they act like this?" But he's not a cop. She already said you're a mall cop.
Yeah, she did. Well, he's not even a security guy. I don't know what he is.
Your security for the building.
I didn't witness anything, man. I'm just.
Oh, you.
I didn't witness anything.
So yeah, exactly.
He
What is
didn't,
what is he
actually.
supposed to do? He literally didn't witness anything. We watched the whole video. What is he supposed to do?
Yeah, she's just.
I understand her. If she really feels like she's been sexually assaulted,
She knows she wasn't.
can-
That's
she
why
can-
she uploaded this.
I
to
understand.
YouTube.
But she can be mad. You can be mad about that. But you, what?
She knows she wasn't. She knows she wasn't.
All right, let's continue.
Anything. And yet you came up. You didn't witness anything.
Wait,
Why
you
did you
gotta
come up
check
to me?
this.
Yeah, you're running away.
Ma'am?
Running away.
Ma'am, you're
Running away.
disrupting-
I'm not disrupting
You're
anything.
disrupting
I'm
business.
going up to the person who harassed me, which was you.
There it is, right there. I'm going after the person who harassed me, which was you. So she found a new victim.
Oh no, she didn't find a new victim. She found a new perpetrator.
Okay, well, yeah, she found a
Alright.
new person. Look at his face now. He's just like, you gotta be.
He's like, can you just leave me alone? The police are here. Look, those are police. That says Seattle Police.
By the way, I had it all on recording of what I said.
Yeah, I wonder what the police did with that.
I really want to see what she said after that. Did she record after the police
No,
were there?
no, because now this is like real police evidence.
Yeah, exactly.
They just laughed at her and that was the end of it.
Man, I don't know. Like, that's the thing is, like, because there are people that, like, report legitimate, like, rape and stuff, and the police laugh at them. But then there's this shit. This shit is exactly why I rage against identity politics.
And the machine.
Yeah, I rage against the machine, man. But it's just, can you get off this stuff? Can you, man, I don't know. It's frustrating.
Did you want to watch that video now or you want to do that Sunday?
How long is it gonna take to watch this video?
I don't know. Depends how many times we stop it.
How,
We can do it. We can do it tomorrow. We can. Let's make this a one-parter because we're already at 2 hours. And we'll just do another one Sunday. You can take the time to.
Alright, I mean, well, we can do it tomorrow, because, yeah.
But tomorrow we're gonna go do stuff.
Well, tomorrow I get off at 4, so we can record from 5 o'clock till 7 or 8.
Good. Yeah. Sure.
Alright. Dudes and dudettes and non-gender conforming folks, thanks for listening. Let us know what you think about our Hugh Mungus comments. What do you think about gender politics? What else do we talk about? Israeli occupation of Palestine. And I don't know what else we talked about. We talked about so much in this episode. But we appreciate you guys listening. Please like and share. Because we have, on Facebook we have like 80 followers. We have like 11 episodes, guys. Can you share some stuff? We would appreciate it. But yeah, either way, love you guys. Do all the stuffs. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Free China Post. If you want to follow us on the podcast services, we're at Free China Pod. And we just did some cool Twitch stuff, but it's been too long since then, so you were not going to see our videos. But if you have Twitch, follow us on Twitch at also Free China Pod, all one word. And we mainly what we do is play DOS games, but we will take suggestions to play stuff. Both of us have like I have like a bunch of games on Steam and stuff. So if you wanted us to play something like that, like lately I've been playing Just Cause 3. So if you want us to play some like crazy new games, I got a pretty decent powered PC, so we can play some pretty high ranked games. Hopefully, Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out soon for PC. I will stream that stuff like on nonstop. But let us know. Share, comment, blah, 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 blah. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Ari, say bye.
Later.
We'll talk to you soon. Love you guys. Bye.